Their tents were set up, all 9, one ripped from the inside. 2 left boots, half buried in snow. In the dead of a Soviet winter, 9 experienced hikers fled their canvas shelter into -30 darkness. No coats, no shoes, never to return. For the years since, investigators have blamed everything from Yetis to secret missile tests. We'll step into that frozen ravine, sift every clue, and test each myth until only evidence remains. Keep listening, because in these next few minutes, we'll test every theory, strip away the folklore, and follow the evidence wherever it leads. February 1st, 1959, late afternoon, light already slipping behind the Ural Ridge. 9 students from the Ural Polytechnical Institute are on the final leg of what the Soviets call a Grade 3 ski trek, 300 kilometers through a deep taiga and bare granite. Pulling the group is 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, radio enthusiast, engineering senior, and the sort of leader who writes a checklist for his checklist. With him, Zina Kolmogorova, track and field champ. Rustem Slobodin, marathoner who once skied 100 kilometers without sleep. Luda Dubanina, the group diarist. Her friends joke she can argue a brick wall into apologizing. And 5 more equally hardwired for hardship. Around 5 p.m., they reach the shoulder of a bald peak the indigenous Mansi people call Kholat Syakhl, literally Mountain of the Dead. Locals use the name as a navigational shrug. Storms there bully even reindeer off the slope. Wind chill digs to -30 Celsius. Visibility shrinks to a swirl of white needles. Instead of dropping into the safe cedar forest 1 kilometer east, Igor orders the tent pitched on the exposed incline. Maybe a deliberate exercise in hard route discipline. Maybe just fatigue. They chop a trench, stamp out a platform, drive ski poles as tent pegs. Zina snaps a photo, canvas glowing orange against the blue snow. Last light, last smile. On the diary sheet she inks, "We are exhausted. Stove not needed tonight. I can still feel my toes. Good sign." That page will end the record written by the hikers themselves. Search parties launch when friends miss a telegram deadline. 26 February, 25 days later, volunteer rescuers crest Kholat Syakhl and see a sagging tent. It is half buried, flapping, striped by 6 razor cuts that run from ceiling to floor. The entrance flaps are still buckled shut. Someone used a knife from the inside. One rescuer crawls in, shouts that sleeping bags, boots, and coats lie neatly arranged as if their owners stepped out for a bathroom break and never came back. Outside, a single file of footprints meanders down slope toward the tree line. Left, right, left, 35 steps, each impression shallow, suggesting a calm walk in ankle-deep snow. No sign of pursuit, no prints of predators. The track fades where the forest starts. The first 5 bodies appear beneath the cedar, whose branches are snapped 2 meters high, as though someone climbed in a hurry. 2 men hug a small fire pit, embers long dead. skin burned on fingertips where they tried to feed the flame. The final 4 are not found until May, exposed by spring meltwater in a ravine. 2 have ribs broken so cleanly, a modern coroner compares the fractures to a slow-moving car crash. Luda is missing her tongue, but tissue around the wound is pale. No blood, no sign it was torn while beating hearts still pumped. Investigators bag every artifact: an unopened flask of medicinal alcohol, the team's disassembled stove, Igor Dyatlov's camera, shutter unclicked since the summer photo, scraps of notebook paper peppered with route bearings, and 2 jackets that tick slightly higher on a Geiger counter than clothing should. 3 months of inquiries circle the same blank space. At the final hearing, lead prosecutor Lev Ivanov writes a single phrase that will feed conspiracies for 60 years. The cause of death was an unknown compelling force which the hikers were unable to overcome. A known compelling force. And whenever language leaves a vacuum that big, legend rushes in, first with footprints, far too large for any human boot. Next myth, the creature the tabloids christened the Russian Yeti. Moscow, March 3, 1959. A black ink headline sprawls across an evening tabloid. Yeti tears 9 to pieces on dead mountain. The copywriter adds spice. Footprints a meter apart, flesh devoured, tongues stolen for trophies. By sunrise, kiosks sell out. Radio hosts chant, Shnezny, Shilovek, snowman, like it's gospel. Truth is quieter. Let's examine the 3 pillars of the Yeti claim. Pillar 1, giant footprints. Rescuers photograph a single file of prints, each 22 centimeters long, a European men's size 42. That's Igor Dyatlov's boot size, not King Kong caliber. Depth tests show 5 centimeters of sink, normal for a 60-kilo skier, not a 400-kilo monster. Pillar 2, savage wounds. Autopsy sheets list blunt force trauma and linear fractures. No claw gashes, no flesh torn away, no hair or saliva trace on clothing. Pathologist Boris Vozrozhdenny writes, trauma consistent with impact from a large object moving at low speed. Translation, a log, a fall, or packed snow, but never teeth. Pillar 3, Mansi folklore. Some papers said local tribes warned of a menk, a forest giant. Interview transcripts tell a different tale. Mansi reindeer herders only reported bad hunting luck that week. Their language has a word for wild man, yes, but it's a spirit metaphor, not a flesh and blood abominable snowman. Consider the tent slice. If a beast had ripped through, canvas edges would fray outward. Investigators note the cuts are smooth, angled down, a knife held by someone cutting their own way out. Tongue missing? Luda's body lay face down in a meltwater brook for 60 days. Water erodes soft tissue. Fish nibble edges. Grim chemistry, not claws. Finally, no tracks approach the tent, only leave it. Tabloids sold 15 million extra copies that winter. Yet every photo, every autopsy line pulls the snow beast myth back into the realm of campfire comfort stories. But when folklore falls, suspicion often turns to humans in uniform. Next myth, a secret Soviet weapons test, and whether the night sky above Dead Mountain lit up with classified fire. If no monster stalked the ridge, perhaps danger fell from the sky. The rumor began with one rescuer's offhand comment, "The tent looks blasted open." Newspapers seized it and a narrative gelled. A classified missile launch roars above the pass. Shockwaves shred the canvas. Radiation dusts the snow. The state, eager to hide its accident, scribbles a known compelling force and files the case away. Let's walk that chain, link by link. Link 1, flight logs. Declassified Roscosmos schedules list every R-7 rocket test. February 3, 1959, a midnight launch from Baikonur, 600 kilometers south, trajectory arcs east, not north. February 1st, the night our hikers vanished, no launch at all. Even if a rogue missile strayed, its fiery exhaust would scorch a crater. Search photos show pristine snow, no blast pattern, no fused glass. Link 2, parachute mines. Soviet Navy used P-50 parachute bombs in Arctic drills. They detonate 2 meters above ground, peppering ice with cast iron shards. Autopsies record no metal fragments in tissue, no shrapnel holes in clothing, just blunt trauma and frostbite. Link 3, radiation. The dosimeter on 2 jackets clicks 700 counts per minute, higher than fresh laundry, but far below the 50,000 CPM Chernobyl firefighters absorbed. Both jackets belong to hikers who part-timed at Mayak, a nuclear facility outside Chelyabinsk. Contamination likely hitchhiked from their day jobs. Link 4, witnesses. Not one search volunteer reports heat blast shadows, singed timber, or chemical odor, telltale markers of high explosives. And yet, there were lights in the sky. A group of geology students camped 80 kilometers south noted 2 glowing orange arcs sliding horizon to horizon around 9:30 p.m. Rocket tests? Possibly. Records show R-7 practice launches the week after. But even confirmed launches never matched the Dyatlov timeline, which leaves us staring back at the mountain itself, at the slope angle, the cut trench, the unlit stove, and a natural assassin far more patient than any weapon. Next myth, a silent snow slab that waits, then glides like glass over the canvas roof. For a half-century, the word avalanche was dismissed. Photos showed only a gentle 30-degree slope, and a tree line set a football field away. Surely trees would have snapped if a wall of snow thundered through. Then 2 Swiss scientists, Johann Gaume and Alexander Puzrin, reopened the case in 2021 with fresh computer models and a stubborn question. Could a very thin slab move silently, crush a tent, yet leave almost no scar? The answer was a cautious yes. The dark blue mass is compact, weeks-old snow, think concrete. The light blue sheet is fresh powder, only 30 centimeters thick, but wind-packed and heavy. Igor's group digs a trench into that base layer to anchor poles. The trench undercuts the upper sheet, creating a hidden fracture line along the tent roof. Wind gusts later in the night, pressure builds, the upper layer unlocks, and a plate of snow slides like a dinner plate across a tablecloth. No thunder, no plume, just a silent shove. Evidence matching the slab model. Tent slashed from inside. Canvas bows inward. Someone knifes an exit. Footprints walking, not running. A fast glide leaves seconds to react, but the slope flattens 30 meters downslope. They slow, realize coats are back in the tent. Too late to return. Blunt chest fractures. 2 bodies found in the ravine have ribs broken, the way crash test dummies break at 50 kilometers an hour. A 30-centimeter slab moving 10 meters per second exerts comparable force. No crater. A slab flows, then resettles, erasing its own crime scene. Critics still raise 2 objections. First, 30 degrees is too shallow. Gaume's model shows wind can overload the upper sheet, raising the effective stress angle without changing the actual slope number. Second, why pitch on the open slope at all? Dyatlov's diary hints at hard route discipline. They wanted practice camping in severe exposure before tackling Siberian expeditions. So, physics, fatigue, and hidden fracture, a natural assassin that waits in silence, then glides just far enough to set tragedy in motion. Yet even the smartest model can't explain the strange, glowing orbs multiple witnesses swear drifted across the same sky that night. Nor does it account for the low, eerie pressure waves some scientists say can trigger panic without a sound you can actually hear. Next myth: paranormal lights and infrasound, the invisible forces that may have chased 9 skiers into a fatal chain of decisions. One puzzle still glows on the horizon, orange fireballs silently crossing the night sky. 50 kilometers south of Dyatlov Pass, a second ski group records in its diary. 9 p.m., 2 large orange orbs drift east to west, pulsing brighter then fading. No sound. 2 days later, a geology camp logs. Strange star-bright lights moving slow, horizon to horizon. UFO enthusiasts wave the sightings as proof of alien rescue missions. Folklore buffs call them fire spirits. But military paperwork offers a grounded explanation. In early February 1959, the Soviet strategic rocket forces rehearsed night launches of the R-7 Semyorka booster. Release documents list practice flights on the 3rd and 8th, but engineers sometimes ran unannounced engine burn tests, short arcs that never left the atmosphere, yet painted slow, silent amber trails. Plasma around a re-entering stage glows between 1600 and 2200 Kelvin, orange, exactly what the witnesses describe. No sonic boom, because the stage moves suborbital speeds and sound dissipates before reaching ground level. Lights alone, though, do not drive 9 rational skiers to slice a tent and flee barefoot. That's where another invisible force enters: infrasound. When strong wind collides with the blunt ridgeline, it can set up pressure waves under 20 hertz. You and I can't hear them, but the inner ear does, whispering anxiety to the brain. Heart rate rises, nausea creeps, an urgent feeling of get out now. Snow scientist Johann Gaume modeled wind flowing over Kolatsiakl. His simulation shows a vortex street altering pockets of high and low pressure exactly where the Dyatlov tent sat. Exposure for even 5 minutes can trigger panic symptoms in lab volunteers. Picture the scene. A low hum, too deep to name, vibrates the canvas. Moments later, an amber glow blooms across the clouds. 9 exhausted hikers, half dressed for sleep, interpret the pressure and light as an avalanche or bomb blast. They cut the fastest exit straight into wind-darkened, waiting snow slab. Evidence that leans pro-infrasound. Calm footprints, panic enough to leave, but organized enough to walk in line. Stove unlit, no time to assemble warmth. Radio log at a nearby weather station notes low-frequency microbaroms the same night. Evidence against? No other hikers in the region report dread, though distance and ridge shape differ. Infrasound alone cannot break ribs. The snow slab still supplies the fatal force. Combine both myths and a layered scenario forms. Rockets light the sky, wind hums the canvas, fear slices the tent, and physics delivers the blow. 4 theories, 1 tragedy. Time to weigh the evidence and let you deliver the verdict. 4 paths, 1 torn tent, and each teaches a lesson. The snow beast legend entertaining, but claw marks never materialized and footprints stayed human-sized. The secret weapons rumor, no crater, no shrapnel, and launch logs hundreds of kilometers away. The silent snow slab, physics aligns with every slice of canvas, every fractured rib. Hard to ignore a theory that mimics a slow car crash made of ice. And the ultrasound plus lights scenario, wind waves and rocket glows that could rattle nerves just long enough for panic to bloom. Each idea explains a shard of the mystery. Together, they form a mosaic, panic triggered by invisible pressure, a hurried escape, and a slab of wind-loaded snow delivering the final blow. Yet even the neatest mosaic leaves fissures. A missing tongue, a radiation tick, the awful stillness of 9 unworn boots. History sometimes guards its last percent. If stories like this help you unwind, tap subscribe for calm, deep dive mysteries. And a quick thumbs up lets the algorithm know other curious minds should find this tale, and sharing it with a friend keeps the bonfire burning past midnight. Keep the curiosity alive, and I'll see you next time.